First, we're going to hear from our board president, then the superintendent, and then we'll open it up for questions. And with that, Board of School Trustees President Linda Cavazos.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here today at Dean Peterson Elementary School. We want to thank Principal Melissa Gutierrez for hosting us today. Also, thank you to all of our Employee Association presidents, executive directors who have joined us here today. Since last March, our school communities, including every student, parent, guardian, teacher, support professional, and community member, has had safety on their minds. Physical safety from COVID-19 and mental and emotional safety from the accompanying stress and anxiety. We have suffered of family members to COVID, especially of color, who have been hit very hard by this virus. Throughout all this, our teachers, our administrators, our support professionals, our district staff, our superintendent have kept our schools open. Only our buildings were closed. Safety was the #1 priority. As we move forward with the huge challenges that face us as we return both students and employees to the physical classrooms with the choice to continue distance learning, know that we will not back down from keeping our priorities straight, and that is to keep every student and employee safe. By working collaboratively toward that goal, we are excited to provide the best possible education from pre-12 to 12. They are all our kids, they are all our employees, and they all deserve the best. Thank you, and I'd now like to welcome our superintendent of CCSD, Dr. Jesus F. Jar. Superintendent.
Thank you, Trustee Cavazos. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I'm going to remove my mask just because I got some other high school principals that I continue to advertise for one high school, but all our schools are important. Thank you to the Board of Trustees, some of them who are here this afternoon. The other ones have other commitments and they're doing some great things. So as you can see from those that are behind me, I am so proud that I stand with all our bargaining partners who are here, from Mr. Derek Bello, President of CASAPI, and Executive Director Steve Osberger, CCEA President Marie Neese, ESEA President Jan Giles, Captain Young from the Police Administrators Union, and Officer Caldwell, who is also here, representing our 42,000 employees. And I'm telling you, before I get started, I couldn't be more proud of the 42,000 employees that I have the honor to serve as their superintendent. Because what has occurred in this past year is close to a miracle, because turning over the 5th largest district in the country upside down in distance education to providing our children, all 310,000, in education has been a remarkable effort by every single one, from our principals, our teachers, our support professionals. And I can't say enough about our support professionals, because we've served close to 11 million meals from the first day that we closed our schools. As I've stated for many months, I wanted our schools open, but we needed to do it safely, because I know how important to our community our kids being in school on every single day, to our staff, to our parents. The governor's easing of the restrictions last week helped speed up the process for us. Our team immediately went to work to look to see what that meant for our children. And I'm going to provide with a timeline. But before I start on the timeline, I also want you to know that, as Trustee Cavazos mentioned, not only were we running a school district through distance ed, we were also planning on reopening our schools. That's why we immediately, when we could, announced that on Monday, our pre-K through grade 3, our students will be coming in on a hybrid model. As I talked to some of the elementary school principals, as I visited, our teachers are so excited, our staff is so excited to welcome our babies to a face-to-face instruction under a hybrid instructional model. On March 22nd, grade 6, grade 9, and grade 12 will be coming back to school under a hybrid instructional model. April 6th, grade 7, 8th, 10th, and 11th will return to school under a hybrid model. April 6th, all pre-K through grades 5 will come to school 5 days a week. Parents, please know that we will continue to offer full-time distance education to our families who feel more comfortable keeping their children at school. So let me talk about some of the other improvements, actually expansions and things we're going to continue to do. Many of our families have a lot of questions about athletics and extracurricular activities. Our athletic department, who are here with us, have been working with NIAA and the governor's office. At this time, we will continue and we will start to offer spring sports that will start April 3rd. These are the same kids that last year missed their spring season. Games and meets will begin April 16. The sports include track, boys and girls, swimming, boys and girls, diving, baseball, softball, boys golf, and boys volleyball. We also, working with our athletics department, plan to offer schools the opportunity to offer intramural athletics for the fall season. Those sports include football, tennis, boys and girls, soccer, boys and girls, cross country, boys and girls, and girls volleyball. There will be 2 different windows, April 5th and May 1st. Football only, full contact. The earlier window is needed for yearly helmet and pad reconditioning of helmets and our shoulder pads. Again, to get them ready in time for the fall of 2021. Football will have 20 practice competition during this window, culminating with an inter-squad game lasting at least 1 hour. This gives our student athletes, focus on the word student athletes, an opportunity to showcase their talents, our coaches to be able to record their videos for college recruiting. It will be similar to a spring game within their own school. May 3rd through 22nd, all other fall sports, staggered against to give our children an opportunity to play and not have to choose between a single sport. No spectators will be allowed at any CCSD athletic event. School clubs will also resume with in-person learning. We will follow all safety precautions following CCSD's, the state, CDC guidelines, and the NIAA. All coaches and adults associated with the team will have to have a negative test for COVID before activities begin. What is happening now? Since Moapa Valley High School currently practicing since they've been in person, and Virgin Valley High School, who will transition to in-person March 8th, will start practicing March 1st, must have 10 days of practice before the start of the competition. Our students who participate in the performing arts, students will be able to engage in live learning and traditional rehearsals. Safety protocols will be implemented to ensure that safest possible return to face-to-face instruction. Similar to athletics, students will be permitted to engage in outside of class activities, rehearsals like marching band, drill team, and theater. To ensure continued safety of our community, our performing arts will have the option to engage in streaming of their concerts for the immediate future. Reopening of schools, folks, bringing back staff and students, and continuing distance education models requires a lot of logistics and consideration. On top of that, safety of our employees and of our students. Something that we need to remind this community. We have 1,700 bus routes. 1,700 bus routes with restrictions. So we have been planning. Our staff has been doing an amazing job of getting this community and our children back to school. I am proud of the work that our team has put together, working with our trustees to bring in our students back to school safely. All CCSD employees will return to their work sites no later than March 15th. All of this information will be posted on our website under our Reconnect. Our parents and our community has already received an email. So let me transition a little bit before we turn it over to questions for our families in Spanish. Para las familias que hablan español, hemos trabajado con la Junta Escolar para poder abrir las escuelas. El 1 de marzo, el lunes que viene, vienen los niños de pre-kinder a tercer grado en el plan de hybrid. El 22 de marzo, los estudiantes de sexto grado, de noveno grado y 12 grado van a empezar la escuela en el hybrid, en el modelo de hybrid. El 6 de abril vienen los de séptimo, de octavo, de décimo y de 11 en el plan de hybrid. Y el 6 de abril vienen todos los niños de pre-kinder hasta quinto grado, 5 días a las semanas en las escuelas. Muchas gracias. And now I'll open it up to questions, and you can have anybody here from all our bargaining partners, also our chief negotiator and our deputy are here. You can ask any questions. I'll turn it over for you to ask any questions of this great team. To the community, our parents, thank you for your advocacy. I continue to keep you and hope to keep you engaged as we focus on our academic achievement as well as our athletic and our performing arts. So thank you very much.
Schools have to submit plans for small groups. What's going to happen with those? Are they just going to be pushed to the side now since we are going to be bringing back all these grade levels?
So thank you for the question. So the board approved the small groups, and I think when we look at some of these plans, as we continue to start bringing more kids in, this was part of the switch, if you will. I don't want to say a bait and switch, but it's really, we have so many bus routes and we have to prioritize getting our students into school. And this was part of the transition that we work with our building principals to make sure that our students were in school. And this is, we decided to go with the 6th grade, the 9th grade, and the 12th grades most immediate at this time.
Yeah, how did you decide which grade levels will be coming back first?
So when we looked at our kids, so you look at our 6th graders that have not been in a school in their middle schools all year, and our high school 9th graders as well. It was an opportunity for us to get our kids in for a week to transition into our middle schools and high schools before our upperclassmen showed up.
And what do you say to families who think this is all about money, getting students back in for testing?
That's couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. Listen to me. I'm going to tell you, this is something that we have been agonizing for a long time to get our kids in front of our teachers. I tell you, our staff has been finding ways to get this done. They care. They want to see. There's nothing like replacing the face-to-face interaction with our children. And I think it has nothing to do with money. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone with the state superintendent in meetings today at 7:30. This is really about getting our kids in school and getting our kids active. I know that they've suffered enough. Our staff has suffered enough, and it's the furthest thing from the truth.
And lastly, is there an MOA with all of the unions, and when do you plan to present that to the Board of Trustees?
My chief negotiator can answer that question.
The MOAs are currently being drafted and reviewed. The MOAs are being drafted and basically proofread at this point. I believe that if not the presidents or the unions themselves by vote are currently approving them all, and they're been explained to the board, and then the physical document should be to them within the next 24 to 30 hours.
Can we get your name real quick?
Oh, sorry, Vakisha Miller.
Dr. Jara, with the return to full-time instruction for pre-K through grade 5, how does this fit in line with the governor's directive that says they can only have up to 75% capacity in the classroom, and after they've been in session with some form of in-person learning for 20 days?
So as our kids return to school March 1st, next Monday, it fits right into the timeline. That's why they're coming in April 6th for that 5 days instruction.
But on April 6th, will the classrooms be at 100% capacity? Will they be at 75% capacity? How are you going to approach that?
Let me turn it over to my deputy superintendent.
Hello, Brenda Larson Mitchell. So the governor's directive indicated that schools had to be in session for 20 days of in-person, face-to-face instruction, and then we could move to the 75% capacity. One of the things that we are reviewing currently is that 3 feet versus 6 feet social distancing. When you look at the 6 feet social distancing with 50% capacity, it doesn't provide you with much more. But with that 75% capacity, we will have the ability to bring in more children, but also considering that 3 feet to 6 feet for safety and health precautions.
Do you plan on bringing back the secondary school levels full-time for 5 days a week after April 6th as well, or at some point before the end of the school year?
Well, we got to look at where we are. Our safety, our mitigation strategies, our partnership with the state is, we have to go through the contact tracing, and hopefully, that would be a goal as long as we're safe.
So right now, families who have secondary school students should expect hybrid through the end of the year, but no expectation for full-time in-person 5 days a week.
Right now, Kristen, is we're looking at to see how this works out, and this is the immediate plan at this point. Certainly looking at it, potentially for the end of the year, but.
Dr. Jara, what can you say about graduation ceremonies and then planning for fall 2021?
Yeah, no, as Jackie, that's a great question. Our team has been working and trying to get ahead and being proactive. I know we sent communications for schools to do their graduations and plan to do that before the governor's restrictions. So now we're going back to see what the potential would be about some of our graduations, and more to come after we get our schools open.
Do you have a rough estimate of how many students will stick to the full-time distance learning education model?
Thank you. So currently we have about 60% and 40%. So we are looking at 40% of our pre-K through 3 engaging in full-time distance education, and also for our secondary students, it is about 40% as well, full-time distance education.
Will there be a survey going out to secondary school families asking whether they want distance or hybrid learning?
No, we're going to use the data we had from the last survey for our secondary schools. Our principals, I have the full faith that our principals will be able to accommodate our children, those who want to move back and make some decisions. We have to, I said it earlier, we were distance education, now we're transitioning, we're still running a school district, distance ed, so our principals will be able to do that. We have meetings scheduled for Friday to start working on the details of this plan.
Doctora, le quería preguntar, algunos padres quizás van a estar un poco en expectativa sin enviar los menores el 1 de marzo para que vengan aquí. ¿Cómo ustedes en efecto van a estar seguros de que estos menores no se contagien de COVID-19? Y también le quería preguntar si los maestros ya se han vacunado, los empleados de aquí se han vacunado contra el COVID-19 las 2 dosis.
So, ahora lo que nosotros estamos, para los padres les digo que una de las cosas más importantes para nosotros es la salud de los empleados y los estudiantes. Nosotros tenemos hemos trabajado, los directores han trabajado mucho para tener las escuelas limpias, separarlos los 6 pies, y vamos a seguir trabajando con eso, el contact tracing, esas son cosas que nosotros tenemos, el partnership con el Departamento de Salud y con la oficina del gobernador. Los planes están muy buen preparados para los padres, así que estén seguros. Y las vacunas, nosotros tenemos como 15,000, 16,000 de los empleados que ya se han vacunado.
Y también le quería preguntar, uno de los asuntos que también impulsa, entiendo yo, a ustedes a hacer toda esta transición a que vengan los niños a la escuela es la poca atención que quizás detención que algunos niños tengan y también la alta cantidad de suicidios. Si más o menos puede actualizar cuántos menores pues lamentablemente se han suicidado y cuán importantes son esos dos asuntos para ustedes.
Para la salud mental de los estudiantes es una cosa que es muy importante para todos, para los estudiantes y los adultos. Eso es algo que nosotros estamos preparados para ayudarlos. De los suicidios no los tengo ahora en este momento para darte los datos, pero llama a Mauricio y te los da.
Y en cuanto a la atención, que algunos, por ejemplo, hemos visto que algunos menores y quizás niños con discapacidad para aprender están teniendo muchos retos a hacer la educación a distancia. ¿Cómo ustedes se están asegurando de que esto, especialmente los niños de educación especial, puedan tener una educación práctica aquí presencialmente?
Sí, las escuelas están ahora, desde que empezamos con un programa de Lifeline para ayudar a los estudiantes para la salud, para traerlos a la escuela con los profesores. Y esos son los directores que están trabajando con los maestros, porque la académica es algo que nosotros sabemos que hemos sufrido mucho. Entonces por eso fue tan lo importante para nosotros traer a los estudiantes a la escuela.
Y por último, quería preguntarle, se han visto muchas protestas, especialmente frente al Distrito Escolar del Condado Clark, en particular padres que quieren que vuelvan a hacerse todas estas actividades pues físicas y otros pues no quieren que vengan acá los menores. ¿Qué le puede decir a esos dos grupos? Los que no quieren que regresen presencialmente y a los que quieren que vuelvan las actividades físicas.
Bueno, hay los deportes y es una de las, ¿cómo se dice? De las cosas que nosotros estuvimos pensando pero lo más importante en las escuelas es que estén a las clases a estudiar para estar con nosotros. Así que yo le digo que los padres tienen ¿cómo se dice? El choice para ellos, si quieren venir, que vengan, y si quieren quedar en la casa, que se queden con los estudiantes, pero sigan la educación a distancia.
Dr. Jara, will there be preparations, especially for the teachers in middle schools and the secondary schools, for them to get ready for students to come back into their classrooms?
Yeah, one of the things, Jeremy, I failed to mention, our teachers and our staff will come in March 15th for the week, just like our elementary schools. They came in this past Monday to get ready for the week. I'm going to tell you, I've said it many times. Our teachers, they've been preparing our kids to come to school face to face. They're so excited. I've been in schools, and they've been planning for this day. And I think I have the full confidence of our employees to get our kids ready.
Dr. Jara, so many petitions have been online. We've seen protests for months from parents. How big of a factor was parental, I guess some groups said advocacy towards getting these students back in the classrooms?
This is what I love about this community and their engagement in advocating for kids. I welcome that, and I want them to continue to advocate about academics just as they have for athletics. And that's one of the things that I'm excited about. I want to engage them as we continue to work together to get our kids, because I'm going to say this, our kids, our staff, at least I feel energized that there's a lot of support from our community. So I welcome to stay engaged with us as we bring our kids back, because our kids are going to need this entire community to wrap their arms around them, to get them to succeed academically, just as they're going to succeed athletically, and just as they're going to succeed in their performing arts. It's not one thing, and I'm so excited that they're engaged.
Dr. Jara, what's going to be done about preparations for PPE? As much as the challenges can be for CCSD, parents are going to have to, parents don't always have access to PPE. Is there going to be an increased
supply? What is being done about what we supply to parents and students as you bring the demand?
That's part of the planning that we've had. The PPEs are ready. We've had them purchased. Now, we started rolling them out to school when for our pre-K 3. So that's something that it's been funded. The team has been working with the governor's task force to make sure that we have enough PPEs for our staff and our students.
Is there a stockpile that you are satisfied with, or is that a continuing project for CCSD?
Well, we still we have enough. And again, in the close conversations with the governor's office, they have opened their office for us on a 24/7, whatever we need. And it's not just PPE; it's contact tracing, is COVID-19. Look, the vaccinations for our staff. They prioritize our educators, and I'm proud of the work that they have done on behalf of our kids.
Dr. Jara, how important was it to get spring sports athletes a chance to play their season after they had their season canceled last year?
Well, that's one of the things that when our athletic department, when we were looking at, these are kids that missed out last year, and it was one of the things that we were concerned about, missing 2 years of athletics and competition. And one of the things that, I get as a former coach, I get how important athletics is. And I think it was one of the factors that we were looking to bring our student athletes in. But then I also look at, as we're planning for those kids that missed the fall this past season, that's in the middle for the other students in Northern Nevada. We're giving our kids a unique opportunity under NIAA rules for our kids to be able to at least have some contact to get ready for fall 2021.
Dr. Jara, at the start of the next school year, do you anticipate school will be back to what it was before the pandemic?
Well, before the pandemic, I can't predict that, but I'm going to tell you this is one of the things that as we continue to open safely, slowly, carefully, is not to go backwards. It's to go forward. Whether we come to 5 days a week in our secondary schools, I can't answer that. It all depends on the mitigation strategies that I know that we have great ones in place. My goal is that we're in face-to-face instruction when we open school next year.
Dr. Jara, did I hear you say 15 to 16,000 of your employees have been vaccinated? If so, can you give us a breakdown? How many of those were teachers?
I don't have that in my head, but we can get that information to whoever wants it. Melinda will get that. And that's through the UNLV pod. We have, I think, a larger number through Southern Nevada Health District. We can look and try, and that's something, it's a data point we're trying to get.
Dr. Hara, what actions have you taken to support student mental health for students? I heard from a school yesterday that only has one counselor and no social worker for over 700 kids. Teachers have not gotten any new training.
So what I can tell you is that this is one of the reasons, and I'm proud of the work that the School Board of Trustees have done in approving Panorama, which is a universal screener that has gone to all schools. We started with 12 schools and a pilot for Lifeline, and that has expanded to 68. Our schools have really provided some support for our students. As far as the counselor to student ratio, look, and I know Trustee Cavazos and the board has had many discussions around this. We need more support. That's nothing that I'm going to shy away from. The board also approved in an MOA with our teachers, CCEA, to increase the pay for psychologists. That has been done, and we've had conversations with the federal delegation. This is not, given our economy, given where we are with the state, this has got to be a federal investment for our families and for our kids.
Dr. Jara, can you clarify on just staggering sports to avoid forcing students to play a single sport? How is that going to work?
Is my athletic directors who have more expertise, Ms. Sloan?
Thank you, Tim Jackson. What was the question again?
It says stagger to avoid forcing students to choose a single sport. What is that? How can you clarify that a little bit?
Absolutely.
Also, was basketball and wrestling considered to have a sport since they lost their league?
The staggered question is very good. The spring sports start April 3rd, officially through NIAA. Staggering them allows students to then go out, try out, commit to a sport in the spring without having the conflict of an intramural program run at the exact same time where they may feel the pressure to choose one or the other. We follow statistics. Statistics say students that participate in multiple sports are more successful. We've created a viable option for kids to do 2 sports at the exact same time under the NIAA guidelines. Second question was?
Was there any consideration given basketball and wrestling an intramural window as well since their season was canceled?
Absolutely. One of the things we looked at was availability of club activities to our students. Football doesn't have club activities the same way basketball does. I'm not discounting basketball, but the kids had a lot more opportunity. There was no way we could offer all 22 varsity sports in one window. So what we did was we addressed what was coming up next, which was fall of 2021. An intramural season is a part of that preparation every season. So the winter sports will not miss out on an intramural. Theirs will occur as it has traditionally occurred in October into November. It's just been calendarized now for football in an attempt to give those kids that opportunity, which they've never had.